You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
Tell you what, I have tried to go to the movies at least for the last 2 months. I got a gift card in July for my anniversary, and I got a gift card for my birthday, both to AMC Theater. So I have enough for a full all package loge seating with popcorn and drinks and the whole bit to go to the movies. And there ain't nothing to see. There's nothing, I mean, not even the Halloween movie, which got pretty good reviews. But, you know, during Scary Farm season, it's not really, going to the movies is not in the cards. I'm too darn tired all the time. You know, I can't imagine what the monsters go through. They must be dead on their days off, because I'm exhausted, and I don't go, you know, the full out physical stuff that they do. God bless them, man. I give it up. And the people who maintain the mazes and keep them running, and these people work crazy. You know, I know I'm exhausted, and I can't imagine what these guys go through. So going to the movies was I couldn't do it. I was too unbelievably tired, and it would have had to have been like an event movie that I've got to go see. And I'm a fan of Halloween, but not enough to get me, you know, like, I gotta go. If it had been a remake of Halloween 3, the one with the masks, and I know they're in the movie, but like a full remake of that, I might have got off the couch for that. But there was nothing to go see. There was even a Winona Ryder movie out called Destination Wedding that I had made plans, like, I'm gonna go see this. And it never happened. Like, you can even watch, or you could, on demand for like $8. And I was like, I'm too tired to even do that, to spend $8 on that. Why should I spend $8 when I have my gift cards? But the gift cards are right here. I haven't even used them. So what's coming up? You know, I don't care about the Grinch remake. I don't care about the Crimes of Grindelwald. I really don't care about Ralph Breaks the Internet, or whatever the heck that is. I can't think of anything like an event picture. I was curious about the Freddie Mercury one, but I couldn't get enough enthusiasm from the rest of the family to go out to see it. You know, I'm on my own, and there's nothing that's calling to me. Come to the movies. Get up, spend your gift card, drive out and deal with the public on their phones. Nothing has been like, I've got to go. You know, it was a pretty mediocre summer. And what's on the horizon now? I don't think there's anything really on the horizon that I am passionate about that I would go out and see. So these cards are going to sit here for a while. They're going to sit here till next spring. And even then, like, I want to see the Captain Marvel movie. I'd like to see that movie. But am I going to keep the cards until then? God, I hope not. How about you? Is there something that you've gone out to see that's been worth, like, you go, oh man, that was worth all the effort? And not that going to the movies is a lot of effort, but you know what I mean. When you're tired like this, you know. Normal people with normal jobs do not understand what Scary Farm is and what it takes to put it on, create it. And I'm not saying I do it all. I'm saying I'm part of that team, and how much work it is, and the people who work, I mean, day and night, for goodness sake. It's got to be an event picture, you know. It's got to be a Star Wars film. It's got to be it's got to be a big Marvel movie. It can't be Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I did see. You know, it can't be Deadpool 2. They're good movies. They were fun, but they're not like must-see, get-out-of-bed movies. The last one of those was, Infinity War, maybe? Before that, Ready Player One? And they don't make the movies that I enjoy anymore. I've watched a whole stack of movies out of my DVD collection over the past few weeks. I watched Lost in America. Fantastic movie. I watched revisited Doc Hollywood with Michael J. Fox. Was shocked at how well made it is. I don't remember it being that good. I watched Dress to Kill, which I thought I was really going to enjoy, and I just found it was pretty blah. It was really long. Like, you could tell that he was emulating, at least format-wise, Psycho. But, and they're movies that don't really deserve a full episode to talk about. I watched Angels and Demons. Like, I just have a stack of these. I buy these DVDs at the thrift store, and then I don't ever watch them. And I got a whole stack still in plastic. So, I've been trying to just, watch those. And here's the thing. I also discovered this channel that I knew it was there for a long time, but there's a channel here in LA called Me TV. I'm sure you have a similar one where you live. And it's nothing but old reruns. And I find myself watching The Jeffersons and Facts of Life and, of all things, The Love Boat. But you know what? I actually find myself enjoying them because they have all of these amazing... Well, Love Boat has these amazing character actors that are either at the beginning of their career, like the one I watched with Billy Crystal, where he was running around the ship kissing all the women, or they're near the end of their careers, like I saw Robert Reed and Vincent Price and the banker woman from the Beverly Hillbillies. Like, there's so many amazing guest stars on that show that you tune in and you're just like, wow. As a kid, no clue who they are. I knew who Vincent Price was, and I probably watched it and went, oh, that's the dad. That's Mr. Brady. But there's so many other amazing character actors. And the show's cheesy. I get it. The sets are flimsy. They don't even look like the Love Boat. They show the ship, and then they crossfade to the set, and they don't even match. like they didn't even care to make it actually look like the ship they're trying to emulate. But maybe it's just a factor of getting old. What is that line in The Watchmen? The future is uncertain, but the past keeps getting brighter and brighter every day. And you never think you're going to get to that until you get to that. And then you're in it. And there's no more intoxicating drug than nostalgia. I mean, you can get wrapped up in it, man. So, along these lines of searching for entertainment, somebody, I don't know who it was, recommended this Netflix series, which is a BBC series called Black Mirror. So I dug in and watched all these episodes of Black Mirror, and at first glance they seem like hour-long or hour-and-a-half-long Twilight Zones. But they're not Twilight Zones, and they don't try to pull the rug at you from under, at the end. The stories are very solid. And instead, at the end, they sort of smack you across the face and make you think. You don't go, oh, I didn't see that coming. Instead, you go, oh, I didn't expect to feel this way at the end. And that's good entertainment. If it can make you do that again and again, that's good entertainment. That's hard to sustain. Most TV shows have one or maybe two good seasons in them before they start the downhill decline. I'm looking at you, Heroes. I'm looking at you, Lost. Not so much Battlestar Galactica, but I enjoyed Galactica to the end. But they do have moments of where the quality dips. And Black Mirror is pretty solid across the board. There are only a few, like a real small handful of episodes that I simply did not care about. Like, I just didn't get it. So we're going to go through the series of Black Mirror here. They're on Netflix. Obviously, spoilers. We're going to ruin every episode here. So if you have not seen them, go watch them before you listen to this episode. And I ruin all of the episodes for you. Okay, so Black Mirror. Episode 1 is called The National Anthem. This is the episode I started with. And I'll tell you what, I hated it. And it's a miracle that I continued with the series after the first one. I don't know why they chose this one as the first episode. To me, it literally makes no sense. If it's telling you a message, I didn't get it. It's about the princess is captured, and the Prime Minister of England is told he has to have sex on camera with a live pig in front of the world, or they're going to kill the princess. And because the Twilight Zone moniker was given to me, I kept waiting for the turn that somehow this was all an elaborate birthday prank or a hoax that they were going to spring on him at the very end. That is not the case. They explore face replacement, and they're going to get some other schlub to have sex with a pig on camera and replace it because the camera has to keep moving to prove that it's really the Prime Minister. No one wants to take that route because the princess's life is in danger. And the Prime Minister character, he just keeps, in every scene, like, he can't believe his cabinet is going to push him to do this. You know, there must be another way. And they're like, no, this is the only way you're going to do it. And like, any sane man would just say, I'm not doing it. And they do all these things like they're going to air it once and then they're going to destroy all the digital copies of it. And if you're caught with a digital copy of it, you're going to go straight to prison for the rest of your life. So they put the hammer on it that it's going to be a one-time only deal, which, come on. You know the age we live in. Nothing goes away. Every moment of every life is recorded and scrutinized and replayed over and over and over again on the news and in basements everywhere. Like, this would become the ultimate underground tape. You know, this had become the movie in 8mm that Nicolas Cage cries to at the end, or the movie in Cigarette Burns where it's an angel having its wings removed that drives people to madness. This, if you didn't see it live, you would spend the rest of your life trying to get a copy of it. That's just human nature. You know, Jerry Lewis made a movie called Tears of a Clown, where he plays a clown that entertains children on the way to their gas chamber at Auschwitz. It's a terrible, horrible movie that never saw the light of day because as soon as it was completed, Jerry shelved it. Of course, we all want to see it. How bad can it be? Oh, it's probably pretty bad. There's a reason it's never seen the light of day. So they do that. They put these rules on it, and they basically lead down the path of he's going to do it. And then, in the context of the film, he does it. And the whole world is watching live. And those that are his supporters are horrified, and those that are his detractors are elated. And it's supposed to be this singular moment in politics where the head muckety-muck is unmasked and depantsed for the world to see and made to do this horrific physical act against an animal. And I'm not sure, I don't know what we're supposed to get at. Obviously, they don't show it, but they show what's worse. They show the reaction to it, which is much worse than showing anything. You know, what's worse than showing it is imagining it. And in the end, you find out that the princess was released 30 minutes prior to the act happening on TV because everybody was too busy watching TV to go find her. And the person who did it was not a terrorist, but he was an artist. And he's hung himself. And it just ends on this sort of dour note of the Prime Minister getting his life back and showing you that he successfully navigated through this event and the world didn't end. And yet, what's the takeaway? There isn't one. I'm sure somebody could tell me. I don't get it, though. I don't understand it. I think there's something in the fact that I don't look to our elected leaders as my parental figure. They're neither my mom or dad. They're just people who run the show, and I hope that they run the show properly. But I don't look to them for moral guidance. I look to them to leave me alone. I want to vote and be left alone. How about that? So I don't have any personal strong connections to any elected official. So if they were to do something as horrible as this, I wouldn't watch. I'm the guy that wouldn't watch. I firmly admit it. And you know what? You can take that to the bank. Remember a couple years ago, 2 Girls, 1 Cup went around and everybody was like, oh my God, it's the most disgusting thing you've ever seen. And I got sent the link over and over again. Guess what? I've never watched it. I know what it is. I've had it described to me, but I don't have that need to watch it. That's not me. I don't care. I don't have even that shred of morbid curiosity. I know that makes me so weird. And yet, I don't care. I don't care to see. I mean, this is a huge stretch in connectivity here. But I was just doing the Back to the Future panel where they asked about the Eric Stoltz footage. I don't care to see that either. Doesn't interest me at all. He did it. He was bad at it. He got fired. And we got Michael J. Fox. And we got a movie that changed my life. Why would I want to see some other schmuck's take on it? That'd be tantamount to seeing a remake of it. Yes, it was a remake before the make. Does that make sense? So I don't feel hollow or empty because these events have not occurred before my eyeballs. So, watching the episode, the national anthem, I was very clear in that, I wouldn't have watched that. And I know that I wouldn't have. It doesn't interest me. I would have taken the time. If the entire nation was watching TV, I would go drive the freeways here in California and have the joy and elation of going the speed limit. Imagine that. Or even exceeding the speed. Oh no, I know, dare to dream. But if everybody's inside watching TV, like we went to Vegas a few years back on Christmas Eve and came back, and we went the 23rd, 24th, 25th, and we came back on Christmas Day. That was amazing. There was nobody on the road. Few people here and there. But we drove fast. And we felt like we were the only people there. That's what I would do. Because I wouldn't watch this nonsense. So that was the first episode of Black Mirror. And it was weird because after it aired, it finished, I was like, well, do I want to continue? Because this is not very good. This is not anything that interests me. And yet, I went back to the well. Now, I don't do that thing, that binge watching thing, where one episode leads into the other. I don't do that. I normally don't have time for that. So I watched these Black Mirrors. Every few days I'd put another one on. Just sort of stretch them out. So the second episode is called 15 Million Merits. And it's a futuristic tale of people who live, I assume, underground. And they ride bicycles all day to power the rich elite who live above ground. That's what I got out of it. And it tells the story of this young man who pedals every day and every time you pedal, you get merits, fake money, Bitcoin. You get to spend them on snacks and entertainment offerings and that sort of thing. And you're just watching him use the money to redress his avatar, which I know that's a big deal for some people. They spend a lot of money to have their video game character look a certain way. Again, I don't understand that at all. I understand as far as the pocketbook goes because Josie was into Little Big Planet for a long time. And I think I spent on her behalf at least $200 on costumes for the little Sackboy character. These are digital pixel nothings that don't exist outside of the screen. And yet Josie would promise, she would do chores or get good grades or whatever it is, or even when she did Maggie at Scary Farm in exchange for these little Big Planet clothing options. And we bought a lot of them. So in the world of 15 million merits, he spends a lot of money to make his character look cool. I guess if that's all you had, then I guess you could, I don't know. I really don't know. And he meets a girl, and he basically falls in love with her, and she can sing very well. So in the context of this world, how you can get out of pedaling a bike if you are not rich already. And you know what? The bike peddlers are not even the lowest of the low. The lowest of the low are the overweight people who have to service the bike people by bringing them things. And then they are insulted and cast about because they're not good enough to ride the bike. So even the low, these are the rowers of the slave ships. And even they have people they get to look down on. So there's this episode has this whole hierarchy of people being horrible to each other in exchange for literally and figuratively power. He falls in love with this girl, and the way you get out of it is you go on America's Got Talent, a version of it, and if you have a talent that's good enough, you can become rich, you can become a celebrity. Everyone will envy you, and you don't have to pedal a bike anymore. Well, this guy's convinced that this girl's voice is beyond measure, and that if he spends, whatever it is, 15 million merits on the ticket to fame, she's going to get out, become famous, and then bring him along. That's his whole goal. So he fronts her the money because he got it from somebody that died. And she goes on the show, and that's we're nearing the finale. And it's, she's going to sing, and she's going to fulfill all his dreams. And when she sings, it's very good, but it's not great. And instead of being offered a recording contract, she's offered a pornographic adult film star contract. And she ends up taking it because it is a way out. And they assure her that they are going to drug her so that she doesn't feel bad or shameful for the acts that she's doing. And this guy can't believe it. He brought her here to become famous, to get him out. And instead, she's become a porn star to be serviced by faceless men. And here's the terrible part. He lives in this little cubicle, this little box that's all screens. And when these pornographic shows come on, these commercials, you have to watch them. If you shut your eyes, the commercial stops and resumes when you open your eyes. So he has to watch a commercial now of her having sex with other men. And he loved her. And it's really mean and tragic. And you keep expecting the camera to pull back and just sort of leave him in this weird version of hell where the girl that he worked for and idolized and gave up all his money is now, a sex kitten on the screen for all to see. And it's really painful. Any guy that's ever had a crush on a girl, put yourself in that situation and you want to kill yourself. Because not only are you being subjected to watching it, but you participated in it. Oh my God. And instead, the episode continues and you watch him doing everything he can to regain the 15 million merits, to get the ticket, to go back on the show, so that he can make a statement about how unfair the world that they live in is, and then kill himself on camera. And instead of this plan going as planned, the judges applaud him and offer him a show where he can spew his opinion every week in exchange for celebrity and all the things he ever wanted. So you get to see him do this. Of course he takes it. And he ends up selling out and becoming this crusader who has nothing to crusade for anymore because he's achieved everything that he wanted. And yet, the girl that he loves is still a pornography actress. She's still an adult film star. And everything is hollow at the end. Everything is hollow at the end. It's very well done. It's very well made. And you just, again, you leave the episode feeling like you've been beat up. But there's nothing wrong with that. Emotion is good or bad emotion. If you feel a way, if the movie or the show makes you feel a certain way, then it's done its job. That's how I feel. I don't watch Schindler's List to feel good about myself. I watch Schindler's List because I know at the end I'm going to be a mess. I don't watch Seven to feel good about myself. I watch Forrest Gump to feel good about myself. I watch uplifting movies to feel good about myself. But I get the same kick either side. These Black Mirror episodes, the gimmick is you don't know how you're going to feel at the end until you've arrived there. And that's why they're so very well done and so good. And why, after this one, I kept going back. Because I wanted to see the other episodes. What other stories did they have to tell, the team that puts this on? Episode 3, which ends season 1, there's only 3 episodes. It's called The Entire History of You. And this is a world where everybody has a little grain that looks like a grain of rice behind their ear. And it uses your eyes to record everything you see and do in life from birth. So you can rewind it and relive every moment of your life. You can relive the birthday party they gave you when you were 6. You can relive your first trip to Disneyland. Anything you want. And of course, these are grown men, so they relive sexual encounters. And you can put yourself right back to it. It's about a guy who's going up for a big promotion, and he ends up at a dinner party with his wife, who didn't know he was coming, and has been flirting with this other man. And the episode leads you down this path, and this is why I enjoy these episodes. It leads you down a path where you think you know who to root for, and then you don't know who to root for, and then you realize you've been rooting for the wrong person, and then you realize, I gotta watch it again. And that, my friend, is good television. I don't rewatch a lot of TV, but these Black Mirror episodes, there have been a few I have rewatched just to see from the beginning, now that I know who to root for, what does it feel like now? And the episodes change. They actually change. This guy is convinced his wife is having an affair, even though there's no proof of it. And he is mean to her the whole episode, and she is doing her best because they're raising a child together, and she knows he's probably upset because he's not going to get the promotion. And he's kind of a jerk, but she married him and she's going to make it work. And he just can't deal with the fact that she was flirting with this guy at the party, that before he got with her, that she had a relationship with this guy and had sex with him, and now he can relive the sex over and over again. I mean, we all know when we get with someone, if we haven't known them since grade school and been their only date, we know that they've been with other people. And that's what makes us well-rounded individuals. You know, we are the complete history of what we've done, been, seen, been with. And yet, we put that all aside because we are in love with the person in the now and not the then. And we have to love them unconditionally as who they are. And know that everything that transpired before we got there made them into the person that we fell in love with to begin with. So to change the past would be to change who that person is fundamentally. And in this world, he can't take the knowledge that this other guy has a recording in his brain of that guy having sex with his wife. He just cannot put up with it. So he leaves the next morning drunk. He goes over to the guy's house and beats him senseless and demands that he delete those portions of his memory, because you can do that. You can delete the stuff that causes you harm. Imagine if you could go in and delete former relationships. Would that make you a better person if those relationships just cease to exist in your memory? Or are you, like I believe, again, the sum total of your parts? You know what I mean? I am who I am because of what I've done, where I've been. You know, I had a terrible, bizarre childhood, but would I delete it? No, I wouldn't do that. I don't understand that. You know, that was the plot of Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, a movie I think is fantastic, because the more you try to delete your memories and your sadness and your heartbreak, the more your emotions and your feelings cling to them, because that's who we are. So he makes this guy delete every sexual encounter, and while he's doing it, he sees something that boggles his mind. And the whole time you're watching it, you know that this guy's getting in so much trouble. He's going to go to jail forever. He's beaten this guy. He's wrecked his car. He's forced him on the threat of physical violence to remove part of the guy's memory. I'm sure in that world, that's got to be a crime beyond measure. Taking somebody's memories by force. So you're watching it, and you're just watching this guy dig deeper and deeper into despair and darkness and becoming the villain. And any sympathy you had for him goes out the window until he gets home. And when he gets home and confronts his wife with the fact that one of the sexual encounters occurred while they were still married, and that kid isn't his, and the wife was cheating on him the whole time, it changes the whole thing. Mind blown. I was rooting for the wrong person. Boom. It's so good that when that happens. As a writer, it's what I live for. Pow! A bomb goes off and suddenly you got to watch it again. And this guy does what any normal person would do. He goes into the bathroom, he takes a razor blade, and he cuts that grain right out of his head. Because he's going to live in the now and not the then. And hopefully he can find somebody. Because there are people, you met one at the dinner party, who don't have the grain. Who choose just to live as they are. Because carrying that emotional burden on you all day, every day. And having the ability to relive, not just the good parts, but there would be people who would just sit and relive social encounters that went wrong, job interviews where they didn't get it, moments of loss and despair. Imagine the misuse something like that could bring. I would never want that. He takes it out, and that's how it ends. It ends with him freeing himself from the past, and the idea that these other two are not going to press charges against him because he was right the whole time. Bang, that's good TV. And it was a hard episode to watch because the characters are so mean to each other the whole show, and you're just not sure who to root for. And you find yourself feeling a little bit not distracted, but restrained. Like this, it hurts to watch. And in the end, it's just bang. It's so good. So good. I really enjoyed this episode, even though it's hard to watch. And, I recommend it only on the idea that you know what you're getting into, because it is very difficult to watch. Okay, one more before we wrap up here. Season 2, episode 4 is called Be Right Back. And this stars the actress from Peggy Carter from Captain America, and Domhnall Gleeson, who was in not only Harry Potter, but he's General Hux in the new Star Wars movie. The guy who's, talking on the phone with Poe Dameron about Yo Mama. He'd choose the scenery in the Star Wars movies. But in this episode, he's very, very restrained, because this one is a bizarre one. And you're not sure how to feel at the end. It's about a woman who is, her and her boyfriend they're on social media a lot, and then he gets killed on a traffic accident. It's off screen, you don't see it. And she's left alone with a baby. And her friend tells her about this new service that can access all of your deceased spouse's social media and their phone records. And you can bring them back to life via social media. So he starts to become, she does it against, her better judgment. And he starts posting social media and writing her texts and emails as if he's still alive. Like he's just somewhere where she doesn't see him. But he's still there. And because it's in his actual words and phrases and voice, it's like he's still alive. And this is so close to reality as to be terrifying. Because I know people who've died. And there are people who still monitor and use their social media. And every once in a while they'll post and you go, that's weird to me. That person's gone. And the person who's doing this, there's no malicious intent at all. It's all done out of good intent. And yet, it's still weird to see a post from somebody that is no longer with us. So this woman does it, and she finds out there's another level to it. And the other level to it is he can call her on the phone if she's okay with that. So she authorizes that. He takes all of the phone calls he's ever made, all of the videos, and they digitize his speech and his personality, more importantly, and they talk on the phone. And she's with him 24 hours a day. And at one point, there's a moment where she breaks her phone or something and he's gone. And she's afraid that he's gone again. But he comes back. And she realizes how addicted she is to him. They go on picnics together and he's just in her ear. And then finally, technology jumps again and he says, I can come back to you. If you want to pay the money, I can come back to you. And they deliver I want to say robot. It's obviously a robot, but it's more like one of the pod people from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, because it arrives with no form. And she has to mix it up in the bathtub and deliberately, like in AI, when the mom has to deliberately turn on the love switch on the robot, she has to deliberately make the choice to bring him back. And he flops out of the tub and it's him. And he's not all the way there, but physically it's him. And this seems like a godsend. Like you could, at this point, we've transcended death. We've brought somebody back from the other side. And yet, even though she has sex with it, the robot, and she does everything she can to fool herself that that's really him, in her heart, she knows it's not. she knows that it's not. And she begs him to fight back and to become him. And what she realizes that he can't, because guess what? It ain't him. It's fake. It's all in your mind. It's only as real as you let it be. It's a tough lesson to learn. And she does a really good job of conveying it. She takes him to a cliff and tells him to jump and die. And then tells him to beg for his life. And then it cuts and you're not sure, did he jump? Did he go? And instead you find out he lives in the attic. And she brings the little girl by every year or so to meet the fake version of her dad and play with him for the day. He doesn't need to eat or sleep, so he's just there. And it's very hollow. Very hollow. And you realize you can't go back. You can't bring people back. That you get one shot at that. And if fate, however cruelly and harshly, takes it away, that you're gone. And the lesson in this episode is we are close to this. Roger Ebert before he died, had surgery that took away his vocal cords. And they put together a computer program where all he had to do was type in what he wanted to say, and it said it in his voice, because they took all of his movie reviews from At the Movies and isolated all the words and put them back into sentences and rearranged them. So we can do that. What's to say we couldn't take somebody's social media and find out their likes, dislikes? People put it on the web. You tell me what you eat for dinner. You tell me what movies you go to. You tell me where you vacation. And use all that information. Mix it up, and then regurgitate it back out in a way that seems fresh and new, but isn't. And we fool ourselves into bringing people back from the other side. It'd be tempting to do it, especially if it's someone you really love. We've seen people reanimated for movies. We saw Carrie Fisher in Rogue One. We saw Peter Cushing in Rogue One. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. We saw a younger Mark Hamill fight in hologram form or force projection form Kylo Ren in The Last Jedi. So we're close to this digitally. It's the thought process that we're working on. And I don't know if I want it. There's an episode coming up that I think is a masterpiece. And I've never wanted a TV show to be real as much as when I was a kid I dreamed of going to Fantasy Island, let me tell you. All right, we're going to leave it there. We're going to do another episode. We're going to keep going on Black Mirror. I hope you're enjoying it. Check out the episodes on Netflix. They're really good, and we're going to go through all of them on this continuing mini series of the longer series known as 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?
Good night, future boy!